I never thought I'd tell this story. For years, I carried it like a wound that refused to close, like fire sealed inside glass. It burned silently, waiting for the right time to break free. And now that time has come. They told me to forget. They told me to bury what I saw that night, to call it a dream, a trick of the dying mind. But there are some moments that refuse to die, some truths that refuse to stay buried. What I saw was not a dream. It was a doorway, and once I stepped through it, I could never go back. My name is John, and before that night, I was a man of routine prayers and memorized words. I thought I knew God. I thought I understood the boundary between the living and the dead. But on the night I stopped breathing, everything I believed about life, faith, and eternity shattered like glass in my hands. There was silence first, thick, heavy, endless. Then came a sound. Not thunder, not wind. It was a voice, ancient and alive. It called my name in the dark. He called my name in the dark. That sound tore through me, not with fear, but with recognition, like the memory of home, long forgotten. In that moment, I knew this was not the God I had feared, but the one I had been running from all my life, the one who loved me before I even knew his name. I tried to speak, but there was no breath left in me, only the weight of light pressing against my chest. My heart had stopped. The monitors were flat. The world had let me go, but he had not. Every image, every whisper, every pulse of light felt like judgment and mercy intertwined. I was shown things no man should see. My life played before me, not as punishment, but as truth. Every lie, every silence, every moment I turned away from love. And yet, in all that revelation, there was no hatred. Only a voice that kept saying, "Return to the fire." I remember falling, not down, but inward, deeper and deeper, into something more real than flesh. And there, somewhere between breath and eternity, I saw him, the one the prophet spoke of, the one I never dared to believe was real. He didn't speak my language, but I understood every word that poured from his presence. He showed me the meaning of mercy. He showed me what it cost to love the unlovable. He showed me why I had to return. When I woke, my body was cold. The machine screamed. The doctors shouted. But I was no longer the same man. I had crossed the line between belief and knowing. And now I speak, not because I want to, but because I must. Because he kept his promise, and now I must keep mine. I was told to speak when the hour drew near, when the signs began to unfold. That hour is now. He called my name in the dark. He called my name in the dark. He called my name, and I answered. Everything I'm about to tell you began with that sound. Before that night, my life was ordinary, so ordinary it almost felt invisible. I woke before dawn each morning, the air still heavy with silence, the city not yet awake. I would wash, face the east, and whisper the words I had known since childhood. Words that were meant to reach heaven, but always seemed to fall back into my own chest. The prayers were perfect, but they had no pulse. I was disciplined, yes, devoted, yes, but inside I was hollow. I moved through the motions of faith like a man walking through an empty house, touching familiar walls, yet feeling nothing inside them. People saw me as righteous. They called me steadfast. But beneath that image was a quiet hunger, a longing I could never name. Every morning after prayer, I would sit by the small window of my room and watch the first light crawl across the sky. That light used to feel like a promise. But in those final months before it happened, it began to feel like a question. My days were a mirror of habit. Work, return, repeat. I smiled when I was supposed to, nodded when I was expected to, and carried peace like a costume I wore to please others. Inside, I was restless. It was as if someone was standing just beyond the veil of my understanding, waiting for me to notice. Sometimes I caught glimpses of something I could not explain. A sudden stillness in the air, a whisper without sound, the flicker of unseen movement when I prayed. I would open my eyes quickly, pretending it was nothing, but it was not nothing. Something was drawing near. In the evenings, I would sit with my family, listening to the soft rhythm of life, the laughter, the news, the clinking of cups. And yet, even in that warmth, I felt far away, like a ghost watching the living. They were all there, but I was somewhere else, caught between devotion and doubt. I began to dream. The dreams were strange, fragments that did not belong to any world I knew. I saw rivers of light moving through darkness, faces I didn't recognize whispering in tongues I could not understand. I saw a door suspended in air, surrounded by fire, and beyond it, silence. Always that silence. One night, I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat, with one phrase echoing to my skull like a heartbeat: return to the fire. I didn't understand it then. I thought it was madness. I tried to pray it away, but every time I closed my eyes, I heard it again: return to the fire. My body walked in daylight, but my soul had already begun to wander. The signs grew stronger. A clock that stopped at the same hour every night. 3:33. A candle that refused to go out no matter how hard I blew. Words written in books I never remembered opening. And then there were the numbers, always the same, following me everywhere. Receipts, license plates, phone calls. I told myself it was coincidence, but deep down I knew it wasn't. Something was calling, patiently, steadily, like waves wearing down a stone. There were days I would look at my own reflection and not recognize the eyes staring back. They looked older, emptied of all certainty. That frightened me, because I had always believed that faith was certainty. But now it was unraveling. I remember one morning, standing at the sink, watching the water run to my hands, and feeling as though it was washing something away, something I could not name. The world around me was still the same, yet every detail carried a strange tension, as if the earth itself was waiting for a revelation. And then came the silence. It started as a kind of pause, an absence between moments. Conversations would fade. The ticking of the clock would stop. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. And in that silence, beneath the noise of my thoughts, I felt again his presence. The same presence that would later call me through the dark. But I was afraid. I turned away. I told myself I was imagining things. I filled my days with busyness, drowned my nights in distraction. Anything to avoid the stillness that followed me. Yet the stillness always found me. I began to sense that my life was narrowing, as though invisible hands were guiding me toward an unseen edge. A moment was coming, a crossing. I didn't know it then, but the days of ordinary life were already numbered. Every morning prayer, every restless night, every whisper of light that passed through my dreams. They were all leading me to that single hour when time would stop and eternity would break in. He called my name in the dark. But before the darkness came, there was a silence. And in that silence, he was already waiting. Return to the fire. Return to the fire. Return to the fire. It began quietly, almost gently, like the breath before a storm. There was no warning, no thunder in the distance. No sense that the edge I had been walking was about to give way. It was just another day, ordinary, unremarkable, the kind of day you never imagine will be your last. I remember the sky being strangely still that morning. The air carried a weight I couldn't explain, as though time itself had slowed. I went about my routine as usual, repeating prayers that no longer reached me, eating food that had no taste, breathing air that felt foreign. My body moved, but my spirit was distant, somewhere between this world and the next. By noon, the light had changed. I felt in my bones first, a trembling, deep and subtle, like a chord struck in my chest. My heart stuttered. My breath shortened. For a moment, I thought it was exhaustion, or perhaps the heat. But then came the silence again, heavier, deeper than before. Everything around me began to fade. The sound of people talking grew distant, their words like echoes underwater. I tried to speak, to call out, but my voice fell flat. I was surrounded by noise, yet I could hear nothing but the rhythm of my own heartbeat, slowing, softening, slipping away. The room darkened, not with shadow, but with something thicker, something that felt alive. My vision blurred, and I saw the outlines of things melt into a haze of light and color. I reached for something solid, but my hands found nothing. The world tilted, and then I fell. But it wasn't falling the way we understand it. It was as though my soul slipped through the skin of reality, through the veil that separates breath from eternity. I remember the exact moment it happened. One last heartbeat, and then stillness. My body had stopped, but I had not. I was suddenly weightless, suspended in a silence so total that it hummed. There was no pain, no fear, no confusion, just awareness. I could see everything. The room, the people rushing around me, their movements frantic, their mouths open in panic. I saw my own body lying there, pale, still, a vessel that had served its purpose. And yet, I felt no attachment to it. It was strange, how quickly we let go of the body when the spirit remembers its true home. I hovered there, not above, not below, but between. And in that stillness, I realized death is not the end. It is the unveiling. The sounds of the world faded completely. In their place came something else. A sound that wasn't a sound, a presence that wasn't seen but felt, like light whispering, like eternity breathing. I drifted upward, or perhaps inward. It's hard to say. Direction no longer meant anything. I was moving, but not through space. I was being drawn, pulled towards something radiant. At first, I saw colors I had never known existed. They were not merely seen. They were felt. They sang. Every hue carried a note, every note a memory. I was surrounded by what looked like light, but it was alive, aware, conscious, embracing me. Then, just beyond that brilliance, I felt the warmth. It wasn't heat. It was recognition, like being seen for the first time. And in that recognition came the echo, the same voice that had haunted my dreams, the same whisper that had followed me through the silence. He called my name in the dark. It wasn't thunderous. It wasn't loud. It was gentle, yet it shook me to the core of who I am. When he spoke, I remembered everything I had forgotten, every prayer I had said without meaning, every cry I had buried, every moment I chose comfort over truth. And yet, in his voice, there was no condemnation, only mercy. The darkness receded. The light grew stronger. I could feel my soul loosening from the last threads that tied it to the earth. Below me, people pressed their hands against my chest, shouting words I could no longer hear. Machines beat, alarms blared, but they were sounds from another world. And there, suspended between life and eternity, I understood. Death does not come to take. It comes to reveal. As I drifted upward, the boundary between time and forever dissolved. I could see everything at once. Every moment I had lived, every thought I had hidden, every person I had touched or hurt. It was all laid bare before me, like a book being opened in the hands of truth. But instead of shame, I felt sorrow. Sorrow for what I had missed, the love I had refused to see, the one who had always been calling me. Even when I turned away, the light drew closer. I could feel its gravity pulling me in. My fear melted away. Every breath I had ever taken, every heartbeat I had ever wasted, it all made sense now. This was where I was always meant to come. I passed through the veil. The colors dissolved into pure white, not blinding, but infinite. There was no sky, no ground, no body, only being, only presence. And there, in that eternal expanse, I saw him not as form, but as essence, the source of the voice, the fire that called me home. His light didn't shine on me. It shone through me, revealing everything I was and everything I was not. And again, softly, like a whisper from before time began, I heard him say, "Return to the fire." The words didn't come from outside. They rose from within me, as though they had been planted there long ago, waiting for this very moment. Return to fire. I understood then. The fire was not destruction. It was purification. It was love so fierce it burned away everything that was not true. I had crossed the line between the seen and the unseen. The world I knew had fallen away like dust, and before me stretched eternity, boundless, alive, and holy. He called my name in the dark, and I answered, and the answering changed everything. The moment I passed through that veil, time ceased to exist. There was no before, no after, only the now, vast and breathing. I floated, or perhaps I was suspended, in a space that did not feel like space at all. It was as though I had stepped into the heart of silence itself, and that silence was alive. Every direction shimmered with light. Not the light of suns or stars, but something older, something that knew me. It pulsed softly like a heartbeat. The air, or whatever it was made of gold and music. Every ripple of it carried sound and memory. Every vibration whispered, "You are home." I looked around, though I had no eyes, and saw rivers of light flowing like living fire, crossing paths and streams of radiant color. The ground beneath me wasn't solid. It was woven from energy, every thread singing praise, every glimmer humming the name of the one who made it all. He called my name in the dark, and when I woke, the light was gone. It happened so suddenly. The warmth that once held me like breath itself vanished, replaced by the mechanical hum of machines. My first sound was not a song of angels, but the sharpest of oxygen, the relentless beep of something counting time. I opened my eyes to fluorescent light, cold, sterile, and cruelly alive. I was back. The peace of heaven had been replaced by the noise of earth. Tubes fed air into me. Wires clung to my chest like serpents of necessity. I could not speak. My lips were cracked, my throat raw, my vision blurred. And yet, I remembered everything. Every sound, every shimmer, every word he whispered into the marrow of my being. He called my name in the dark, and now I was called to speak in the light. A light that men had learned to fear. Doctors spoke over me, their words mechanical, their faces numb with duty. Families stood around me, whispering prayers mixed with disbelief. I could see it in their eyes. They thought it was the drugs, the trauma, the confusion of survival. They did not know that what had died in me was not my body, but my blindness. I had seen too much to go back to sleep. Days bled into nights that never ended. I would close my eyes, but rest never came. Instead, I dreamed of the light, not as memory, but as summons. I would hear the refrain rise through the silence of hospital walls. Return to the fire. But when I tried to speak of it, when I tried to tell them, their faces hardened. Their eyes grew cold. Some smiled politely, others turned away. They told me to rest. They told me not to dwell on it. They told me heaven was not for people like us to describe. And in their words, I heard the faint whisper of another voice, one that did not belong to God. They don't want this message spoken. It haunted me. I would walk through corridors that flickered with faulty bulbs, shadows stretching long and thin across the walls like hands reaching for me. The television screens glitched when I passed. The radio static would rise without reason. My phone froze when I typed about the light. My breath caught each time I tried to recall his words aloud. There are powers that tremble when truth returns to earth. He called my name in the dark, and the dark remembered. When they released me from the hospital, the world felt different. Not new, but foreign. People rushed past with their eyes dimmed by endless scrolling, laughter too loud, silence too rare. I stood in the middle of it all, a man carrying fire no one could see. At night, I would sit alone, staring at the moon, waiting for it to answer. Sometimes it did. Sometimes it stayed silent. And sometimes I would feel the air grow heavy, like unseen eyes watching, waiting for me to speak what they feared. Return to the fire. That voice would come again, not loud but certain, like a pulse beneath the skin of the world. And I would weep, not from fear, but from knowing what it meant, the cost of obedience. I tried to write it down, the vision, the command, the prophecy, but words failed. My hands shook, the ink bled, the pages tore. Each attempt felt like pushing against invisible weight. My room grew colder. My sleep grew shorter. The light bulbs would flicker whenever I prayed. He called my name in the dark, and the war began. I told a friend once, one I trusted deeply, about what I saw, about the river of light, the rising flame, the nations trembling before mercy. He laughed gently, the way people laugh to protect themselves from what they can't understand. Then his tone turned cautious. You should be careful. People don't like stories like that. He was right. The moment I began to share, doors began to close. Invitations vanished. Messages went unanswered. My own family called it exhaustion, delusion, post-traumatic faith. They wanted me to move on, to forget the fire. But how can one forget what remade their soul? He called my name in the dark, and his echo still burns inside me. The nights grew longer. Sometimes I would wake to the sound of whispers, not from outside, but within the walls. The atmosphere. Soft hum lingers. The narrator's voice emerges, measured, solemn, and trembling with holy weight. I remember the silence after everything, the kind of silence that does not rest but watches. It followed me like a shadow that would not let go. I tried to escape it. I tried to bury it beneath noise, laughter, and movement. But silence has a memory. It always finds you. It knows the one who has seen the fire. Sometimes I wake before dawn, and the world feels suspended between two breaths. Heaven and earth holding still, waiting for something unnamed. That is when I hear it again. That soft echo that burns through the soul. He called my name in the dark. I have spoken what I was shown. I have given the words I was commanded to release. But there are things no language can carry. Truths too vast, too fragile, to fit inside human sound. What I saw was not just a vision. It was the unveiling of everything hidden, the shaking of everything false. And still, even now, I feel its echo moving through my bones. The fire did not end when I awoke. It followed me. It whispers in the hum of the lights, in the cry of a child, in the rustle of the pages when I open the book. It whispers, return to fire. I have learned that revelation is not a crown. It is a wound. The deeper the truth, the greater the ache it leaves behind. Because when light enters the heart, it burns everything that cannot stand. It exposes, it cleanses, it purifies, and that purification feels like loss until you learn that it was freedom. Everywhere I go now, I see the same hunger behind people's eyes. They pretend they are fine, but I can feel the trembling. They scroll through the endless noise, searching for something real. I want to reach them, shake them, hold them, but I can only speak. I can only whisper what I was told to whisper. Return to the fire. This isn't just my story. It's yours. It's the story of every soul that once knew the sound of heaven and forgot. It's the story of every heart that once burned with love and let it go cold. The world believes it is awake, but it sleeps in bright rooms, dreaming through screens, mistaking the flicker for light. Yet even there, God moves. Even there, he speaks. Even there, he calls names in the dark. I have seen how mercy moves. It does not rush. It waits at the edge of human rebellion, patient as dawn. It watches our chaos, our noise, our arrogance, and still whispers, come home. When I close my eyes, I see a horizon washed in gold, a light not of this earth, stretching beyond time. I see faces, millions of them, rising like embers from the ashes, their eyes glowing with remembrance. I see chains falling without sound. I see the wounded becoming witnesses. I see love, raw and unfiltered, flooding through the cracks of the world. And I hear again, the truth must be told. Some nights, I walk outside just to feel the wind move across my skin. I tilt my head to the sky, searching for that same presence that once filled me in the realm beyond. It doesn't speak in thunder now. It speaks in stillness, in the quiet ache of obedience. I have learned that faith is not noise, it is endurance. It is a decision to keep believing when heaven feels far, to keep speaking when no one listens, to keep walking when the road narrows into solitude. I have kept my vow. I have spoken what I saw. But the message was never mine. It was for you. Return to the fire. Return to the fire. Return to the fire. Because there will come a day when the lights of this world flicker and fade, and only the true flame will remain. That flame is Christ, the uncreated light, the word that became flesh, the love that conquered death. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you. The time for delay is gone. The time for pretending is gone. The time is now. Soft hum deepens, like the world exhaling after storm. Open the book again. Read the words you've forgotten. Listen not with your mind, but with your spirit. Every page still breathes. Every verse still bleeds love. Return to the Gospels. Return to truth. Return to Christ.